Hey guys, Ronnie here. This week's episode is brought to you by NelsieSpencer.com. Everything Nelsie Spencer and Losing It is on NelsieSpencer.com. There you can find links to Nelsie's book, movie, and classes. Take Nelsie's writing classes or get one-on-one coaching and sharpen your writing skills. Take classes like screenwriting class and novel writing first draft. If you'd like to support the show, grab a couple things at the Losing It merch store where we have mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, hats like this one, the one I'm wearing, and much more. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out links to NelsieSpencer.com and other things such as the links to our equipment we use and all our social handles in the description down below. And if you want to contact us, tell us you love us, hate us, want to tell us you're losing a story and possibly have Nelsie read it on the show, email us at losingitcontact@gmail.com.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it.
Yeah, your mic sounds way better too.
Losing it. If you got a story, we don't care if it's happy or gory.
Peter Piper picked up.
What
is it? Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Honey, what is the deal?
It's top heavy. Peter Piper picked a
Peck.
picked a peck of pickles.
Pickled peppers.
Peter Piper picked a peck of
That's wrong. What's a
It is
peck
wrong.
of What's a
Peter
peck
Piper
of
picked a
peppers?
peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick?
Fantastic, Nelsie.
Thank you.
Welcome to Therapy Thursday. I am Nelsie Spencer, and to my right is Heidi Haddad, LCSW, and Ronnie Whaley. Come on down.
Hello.
All right, so
I'm Heidi. Hello. Nelsie, that's not a word.
Oh, God love it. All right, so
are
for
you
real,
drinking
let's get
milk?
started.
Are you drinking
I am
milk?
not. That's
What is that?
disgusting.
What is it you're drinking?
It's oat water.
Oh, which is really totally undisgusting.
It's actually so good.
Is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say you
Just
run.
literally did a spit take. She just
Yeah.
literally
Just
spit
like,
take.
is that like oats you run underwater or something? What is that? That's not good. You don't want to have that all over the place.
That was really funny. Oh my god.
Handling myself like a pro. That's right. We just do a little cleanup over here. Clean up.
Clean up on aisle 10. Spit take on aisle 10. Oh my lord, that was funny.
Ah, God. All right.
So what is oat water, Heidi? Not different than oat milk, correct?
Yeah.
You soak your oats? Honey, we can't hear you. You got to come back to the mic. Come
Soaked
back.
oats filtered and then filtered.
Oh. Did you make it yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you really? You
Yeah.
make it yourself? Why does it come out
Yeah.
white?
It's creamy. It's because it's
creamy. That's what she said.
It's like almond milk or any of that too, right? You
But
just
you make it
soak the
yourself.
almonds and then you mix it with water, soak it, and then you strain it.
Huh.
Oh.
You blend it and strain it.
Is it yummy? And it's yummy? You say it's delicious?
It is. It's sweet even. You know.
all
you know.
right.
Really?
You ever make I'll make oatmeal with, and it's still. If you, how do I want to say? If it's liquidy, oh my God, I got the mirror. If it's liquidy, then
Honey, you can do the mirror later. We're podcasting.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
If you start vacuuming, I swear to God.
Just a little cleanup, just a quick touch up. If you, what am I talking about? I forgot.
I don't
already.
know.
Forget. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, who cares?
I think we've said enough about oatmeal water. But if you guys want to know, Heidi has a TikTok account where she shows you how to make oat water. I'm kidding. She doesn't.
Every video.
Yeah.
That's all I do on TikTok.
She does. Yeah.
I was going to say, when you make oatmeal and you put enough liquid in it, so it's kind of a liquidy oatmeal, the liquid on top is kind of sweet.
Ah, well, now we know.
Is it true?
I've noticed in the past, and I like it, but that's not why I do this. This is just really apparently good for you. Good for your digestion. And
Fiber.
good
going
fiber.
on. Yeah.
A little bit of fibs. Yeah.
Fibs.
The fibs. The diet. All right.
So
welcome
Therapy
to Therapy
Thursday.
Thursday. Am I taking my role back, or you want to stick with it?
We've done the
I
intro
think we've already
for
covered
this
this.
like 3 times.
Nelsie. Jesus.
When you guys, I just want to say that when you two gang up on me, it's like
No,
it's
I
really
just
triggering.
said
It's really
excited.
triggering for me.
I thought you were
Heidi
gonna say
just
exciting.
agreed to me.
No, it's really triggering for me because I was the youngest, and you guys are just super mean, and I don't like it. No, yeah, we did it not very successfully. Hi, welcome to Therapy Thursday. I guess we did do it, didn't we? Never mind.
Oh my God, Nelsie. All right. So last
Dino,
night on
cut
Twitter,
that
let's
out.
start.
Last night
cut
on
out
Twitter.
everything.
Go. Yeah.
Last night on Twitter, I talked about, there was a theme, basically, as it turns out. But I
saw
asked
that.
about, yes.
I was there. Yeah.
Were you? Were you there for the whole thing?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would you do that? That'd be weird.
What kind of
So
insanity is that?
the question, or the prompt, if you will, was about grass always being greener somewhere else, and
That's
this
right, yeah.
idea that if you just do something different, your whole world's gonna fix everything. And the outcome of that was people saying, well, what if I'm in this situation that's really crappy, and because the grass has to be greener over there because my situation is really crappy, or what do I do if I'm in a situation that's
There's no way
where
out.
there's no way out? Or different people said, what if people aren't listening to me? I've tried to convince them of something or tell them something and they're not listening. What do I do? And it seemed, while other times there's a lot of find your joy, it seemed like what was coming up a lot for me was Eckhart Tolle's quote, or what Eckhart Tolle says, and I paraphrase the whole, if you're in a situation that you don't like, change the situation. If you can't change it, leave. And if you can't leave, accept it. All else is madness. And so someone's like, so I should just desert ship. And people have this misconception that if you are in acceptance of, it's the same as deserting or abandoning your people or any of that, versus just recognizing that this person is where they are in whatever capacity they're at, whether it's addiction or just a mindset or what. And you don't have control over making them happy. You don't have control to make them do anything. And then another question was, I'm exhausted trying to make my partner happy, and it's making me miserable. And I love them, so it's hard, even though I know what to do, it's hard to get out of the situation. And I said, and the question was, how long do I give till I leave? So the answer was, only you know that it's time to leave when it's time to leave for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ronnie?
Ronnie was
I'm not calling on
in.
Ronnie right now. Ronnie, do you have any thoughts or feeling?
Feel like totally on board with that. I have not much to add, honestly.
Let's take another call.
Well, I think it's, I'm trying to make my partner happy, and that whole thing of trying to make someone else happy, first of all, is it your job to make that person happy? Number one. And number two,
you don't have that power.
I know exactly. You don't have the power to do it. And I know what they need, or I know what they should be doing. And of course, oftentimes we think that, and sometimes we're right and sometimes we're wrong. But, it's, if you put the focus back on yourself, then maybe if you focused on making yourself happy and trusted that your partner's going to find their way or not. And if they don't, I love that thing of like, only you know when it's time to leave, because I remember somebody being in a similar situation. Like, I don't know whether I should leave the marriage. And a mutual friend of ours said to them, you'll know when it's time because you'll be walking out the door. Like it'll just happen. It'll just be visited upon you, which is kind of a radical thought, but I think it does happen that way. You're just like, oh my God. And then I was gone. And then the next thing I knew, I had left, you know? So, yeah. So, and what was the other thing? Oh, about acceptance. That the whole idea of the grass is always greener thing, you know, I didn't make this up, but no matter where you go, there you are. So if you have to look around and go, okay, so how much of my circumstances have to do with me? And because, you know, if I move, if I'm unhappy because of all of, maybe it's external things. So, okay, so maybe I'll move to Hawaii and then it'll be different. But it's possible that you move to Hawaii and still you bring your problems with you, right?
It's a pretty 100% possible. Depending on what your problem is. If you're trying to leave your parent, then no, it is totally possible.
Exactly. Right.
But it just, the idea of acceptance, I think, is so powerful in truth. When there is nothing, I shouldn't say there's nothing. I can't think of a situation where if you didn't have that, it wouldn't change the perspective. Let me rephrase that. I can't think of a situation. I don't know how to rephrase it other than to say that if you're in acceptance of what is, every situation for the most part that you encounter, I say for the most part because I'm going to allow for maybe I'm considering something that's out there, but for the most part will allow you to navigate it without anxiety, without depression, without fear of hopelessness, without
judgment,
without expending all this energy trying to get someone else to do something or trying to make something better than when you don't have the power to do. All you have the power to do is yourself. And so if you're in a situation you don't like, change that situation. And so if you're living where you don't want to live, see what you can do to move. And if you can't move, I mean, I think the Eckhart Tolle thing is
brilliant.
I mean, it's so freaking simple.
Yeah.
And all the complexity that we put into so many things is just that simple. Just, all right, it's raining today. Okay, what am I going to do with myself on this rainy day? Period. Not, now my plans are ruined. Now I can't do anything.
I can't believe it's raining. Nothing ever works out.
Bullshit. Right. I mean, and so there you are. How long do you stay there? And that's what's going to bring your day down, not the rain, but that perspective.
That perspective, and just holding on to that perspective, and holding on to the anger or the frustration or the incredulity is just, it's exhausting. And I mean, I like the fact that you say it's simple, but it may not
difficult.
Be easy. Yes. Things can be simple and not easy, because especially so often we're holding on because we think that's the answer. You know, it's like all the sort of outrage that there is everywhere about a political situation. You know, it's like, but I have to be outraged, because if I'm not outraged, that's suggesting that it's okay. And yet,
that's a difficult one, because that's saying thanks for bringing one up that it doesn't fall so neatly into that category, because racism. Right? There's nothing okay. We can accept that it exists, right?
Racism.
And then, and then we need to do something about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not, so just so we're also clear that acceptance doesn't mean complacency, which often people think it does.
No.
Like, I have to accept it. I have to accept that this exists and not care. And that's not the point. It's accept, like, okay, it's happening. Let's not deny that this is here. It's raining outside, just to continue to use who cares metaphor, or analogy, whatever it's called.
I think it's analogy.
I think it is too. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Why do they have to make two things that are almost identical in concept just to fuck with us? This analogy and metaphor drives me nuts. So anyway, raining, la la la. Being
Man, I kind of get it. You know,
Thanks. Come in, Ronnie.
Please. Well, raining a la.
I tell this a lot. I say this a lot, but towards the tail end 2019, I moved back to the States, and I made that decision like that. I got the first flight out because I was super bummed about being back living with my parents, and I found the closest flight I could get, which was 2 weeks, and I made the decision, and I made the decision within the day. The day before, wasn't even thinking about it, and then the next day, in the middle of the day, I decided I'm buying a plane ticket and figuring it out later. Just because
Good job,
I
Ronnie.
was just like I need to.
It was time to go.
Yeah, it was time to go. I came back. I had that whole thing. I told you guys about that whole breakdown in 2018. Stayed in the Philippines for 2019, and then I came back and I was like, I'm ready to come back and try this again and jump in it again. I was just super not in the groove when I was living. It's hard when you if you go back to your parents' house and you're in a small town and you're halfway across the world. When you used to live in New York, it's kind of you feel detached and you feel like you're not progressing as much as you could. So just to pull out an expression from the 1940s, how you're going to keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris. And that's once all these soldiers went to war. No, I'm serious. Stick with me. All the soldiers in World War II.
I love how Ronnie's face is like, yeah. And then he's like, right. Heidi also thinks this is nutballs. Okay, good.
Okay, yeah. Once you've seen the big world, once you've been a soldier,
I'm sorry. Just to pause you 1 second, just to circle back to bring an expression from the 40s when you're down on the farm. What? Okay, I just take it from the top because that was magic. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so old.
You weren't even alive.
I know, but I had old parents, and they had old parents. The point is, you'd seen you'd been in Manhattan. You'd seen a bigger picture. You'd been in a more stimulating world, and then you go back to where you grew up, and you feel like you're missing out. I mean, not to say that it wouldn't have been legitimate to go home, and stay home. Some people do that, and that's fine. I mean, to stay in their hometown.
I didn't feel like I was more missing. I felt more like I wasn't connected to the pulse. You know what I mean? Just because at the time, still the type of person who wants to progress in life. And I felt like my capabilities were limited back home, rather than a place like New York, which had a lot of opportunities and is very connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you realized and you just were ready and you bought that ticket, and 2 weeks later, boom. And you've been back here ever since. Yes.
Yeah. That was that was it. I haven't been home since tail end 2019. It's the longest I've been gone from the Philippines. So
me too.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
As long as you've been gone from the Philippines. Are you missing it? Are you missing the Philippines?
I am. I would, yeah. I've heard good things about that place. Heard it's nice. Heard it's
Ron
pretty.
Couldn't wait to get the hell out, but I heard it's nice. Just kidding, Philippines, kidding. Yeah, I mean,
what's she kidding about? It's not nice.
No, that Ronnie couldn't wait to get the hell out. I left California and never looked back. Really, I went to New York.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
Oh, all right. So we're going to stay with acceptance. That's all we're talking about today.
Acceptance.
I'm going to accept that Heidi is annoying. I'm accepting that. And bossy. She's bossy.
And
I'm going to accept that Nelsie sometimes brings in information that's not necessary.
I'm not a part of this
not
conversation.
Wait.
No, it is tangential.
Not
tangent.
And It's not cogent.
Cogent. Okay, good.
Not
You're right.
taint
Yours,
related.
it is tangential. I can't say that word. Never could.
Tangential, but it is not a metaphor.
Listen, the underlying theme, the bottom line is, and we're moving on to something else, is acceptance is not complacency. It's being at peace. That's it. It's just being at peace with whatever it is that is in front of you. You don't have to judge it. You don't have to dissect it. You don't have to anything it. Just say like, oh, it's a tree. That's a tree. And it's there.
Let's go back to the raining analogy.
It's raining.
It's raining.
It's raining. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes the rain is a gift. Sometimes it's always a gift. Sorry.
Sorry, Rain. Rain, I love you.
Sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
Don't want to piss off the rain. Don't want to piss off the rain. Woo.
Sorry, Mother Nature. All right. Somebody have something else to talk about. I'm done with last night on Twitter.
Well, it kind of reminds me. Well, you go ahead, Nelsie. But
no, I really kind of think, Ronnie, you have something to talk about because there's been this whole sort of this huge thing that's happened with in the Asian community with this racist comic and the fallout from that. And I feel like that's sort of the complete antithesis of acceptance when you have, racism and judging someone in the way that this guy did. So I you and I have talked about it sort of abstractly, but we really haven't talked about sort of how it lands on you. So I feel like that's
why don't you say what it is?
Well,
not
Ronnie,
have
you
a
talk
private
about
conversation between you and Ronnie.
You talk about this guy because Ronnie knows the story. He's gonna pull this
Here's
guy
the video.
up, I think.
So what happened is this comedian Tony Hinchcliffe did a show like a week and a half ago in Austin, and his opener that introduced him on stage was a Chinese guy. And so in the video, you'll see the Chinese guy introduce him, and then Tony Hinchcliffe go on stage, and then this is what happens. Yeah, exactly.
Give it up for the one and only Tony Hinchcliffe.
Hello, good evening, welcome, hello. How about one more time for the filthy little fucking chink that was just up here? While all you fucking race traitors are whooping and hollering, I'm back there watching you puking in a fucking bucket. Oh, we make it a gunpowder. Oh, you want extra soy sauce. Oh, you borrow money from us. And you guys just eating it up, you fucking pussy. Anyway, this fucking Chinese guy's standing right there. I'm like, what's the problem, dude? These tables are all packed. He's like, you make fun of Chinese people, I'm gonna beat you up. So I do 12 more minutes of Chinese jokes right to this guy's face. Chinese jokes I never even had before. The adrenaline takes over and I'm just doing Chinese. Like, you gotta go back to your seat, dude. This is how that fucking virus started, is people like you breaking the rules. There's a whole thing.
Yeah. So
hashtag cancel Tony. Okay. Enough said.
That's trending.
Wow.
Well, and his career is pretty much over, right, Ronnie?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Well, it seemed like it looked like a lot of it was, it is intentional. Like he is a roast comic. He's one of those roast comics, so he's very much in that genre, but that obviously what he did was super insensitive and inappropriate, and also horrible time to do so. And if it's like, if it's material trying out, this is not at all the time to be trying it out. It's fucking, American, a Pacific Islander American month.
Month.
So like they have a whole month, and it was in the middle, dead center of the month. And also all this like, Asian hate going on. And then it's just, it's even crazier that he's doing that in Austin and the crowd is like cheering him on and he's actually not bombing. It's kind of crazy,
Yeah, that was the disturbing to me, is how much laughter continued to happen, and it's hard to tell because obviously the quality of the video is really bad, and so we don't know how bad the quality of the audio is, and maybe it's just one guy close to the mic that's laughing, but yeah, it's really disturbing. But you know, being in the Asian community, Ronnie, how'd that whole thing land on you? And being in the Asian also comic community.
Yeah, I mean, like on the other podcast I was on, it's all like Asian comics, and like it was like so you have to look at it. If you are a comic, you have to look at it from the perspective as a comic. Like, did you make a mistake? You know, did I try something and it did it not work? And coming from that point of view, well, first of all, the decision to play that line is a decision you can make because it's possible to do so, and come out on top. Like, for example, saying the N-word is a horrible thing, but the way Louis C.K. uses it in his joke about I forget the name of the book, Tom Sawyer. He talks about the book Tom Sawyer, right, and how they use the N-word constantly. And he's talking about how he's like, telling the story to his kids, and then he doesn't want to say the N-word, but he says the N-word on stage to prove the point that it's a horrible thing, right? So you can say the N-word there, but to work in your favor and not, shit on anybody or any race, right? But what is going on here is completely the opposite thing, It's completely offensive and isolating to the race and culture. So the crazy thing is, if you're a comic and you're trying stuff out,
and the MC,
yeah, exactly.
The
The
MC.
guy was right there, Pang Dang. It's just so crazy, and the fact that you try something out and then you get a reaction as a comic, naturally you're going to continue to roll on that. So it's like, it's not just Tony Hinchcliffe's fault; it's also the audience. And it's, everyone there is responsible. It's just kind of like tone deaf, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, so complete opposite of acceptance right there.
It is kind of interesting. That's just I think it's an interesting point, Ronnie, just the simple, it's the responsibility of the audience as well. That when somebody is, same with any show, whether it's a racist comedic situation or what. I'm sorry. Noticing that there's oat water, milk all over everything. Sorry. I've stained my table. Regardless of what it is, that it's the responsibility of the viewership to have standards, I guess, right? And
it's kind of crazy.
People have different standards.
Yeah,
that was
it's very
a little
telling.
bit too giving of me. I'm being nice about it. Yeah,
it's very telling.
Right?
Yeah,
it's really disturbing. Really disturbing. Yeah. So, a sort of an interesting thing that might go under the acceptance umbrella. I found my way to this guy, Jeffrey Marsh. He's actually they them. They are non-binary. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because Nisha Boast, who was on Losing It, was talking about them on TikTok. And she was talking about how Jeffrey was talking about acceptance and self-love. And so I was like, and they, them, this, and they, them, that. And so I was intrigued because of what they were talking about. So I go and I find their Instagram feed, and I think, I don't know that much about them, but I was immediately pulled in because they are very open about, obviously they are sort of a non-binary, like spokesperson almost. And I think they are a coach. And so they get all these questions about the whole they-them situation. And I feel like I understood it in a way that I hadn't before. And to go back to the idea of acceptance, I feel like I was one of those people who's like, well, I just don't get it. And, what do you mean they, them? Like I was kind of mocking of it and really disrespectful of it. And so I really was glad that I went and looked at their feed and got to hear them talk about it, because I feel like I understood it on a deeper level. I understood, like they said, well, gosh, if somebody someone left their umbrella here, I wonder if they'll come back for it. So they were pointing out that you can use that pronoun, and if someone wants you to use that pronoun and you don't, it's a form of bigotry. And so I felt humbled, and I also felt happy that they explained that to me, and that I went from sort of looking at it through a really narrow lens to the lens widening a certain amount, and I actually want I want them on the podcast because they were amazing. And
I want to eradicate the use of they and them and institute per.
How do you use it?
Have you seen per?
No. Would it?
I'm
sorry.
You just told me to use it.
I thought you were talking about like a movie or something. Okay. Wait, use it again?
I was walking
when
down
is
the street.
per coming? Right. When is per
there
coming?
you go.
Versus.
Have you seen per?
Because it's the
When
first
are
half of
pers
person.
coming?
Yeah, but it's like
When are pers coming?
But it's like really close to. Well, but why per though?
What Nelsie just said.
First half of person.
Yeah, it's person.
Oh,
it's neither
person,
male
I
or
see.
female. It's just per.
And yet it's still singular.
And when you can add an S for it.
Right, you can.
For plural. Versus they and them is not grammatically correct. It drives me nuts.
Oh, misacceptance.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's just, first of all, I like per. Second, did you ever read the book, A Woman on the Edge of Time by Marge Piercy?
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah.
No.
So,
No.
have you?
No, I haven't.
I was like, Ronnie, yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah. Loved that book. Loved it.
So good. So she's American, and she wrote this book, a futuristic book, but I read it so long ago I can't remember the details of it, but what stuck out to me 110 years ago was her use of per, that there was no gender in it, and everybody was per. And I think there was she created a whole world, gender neutral world, and it didn't take, obviously, but now everybody's on the, like, you can't, she and they, just identifying their pronouns first and foremost. And I'm down with that. I respect it. Okay. And they, them is not grammatically correct. It drives me freaking nuts. It is a plural word. And we're not talking about this person as more than one. Yeah. You don't have to be he or she. I'm totally down with that. But let's come up with another word
that's
like
not plural.
her. That's not freaking
Your
plural.
concern is more the grammar.
It's confusing. It's the grammar and it's confusing. So when I'm having a conversation with someone and they're using they and them to describe, let's say the initial intention was to talk about Nelsie, let's say. And so I'm telling you a story about Nelsie. And then all of a sudden, instead of using the word Nelsie, I'm using the pronoun they and them. And then it gets confusing because am I still talking about Nelsie, or am I now talking about their family?
Right. Yeah, Nelsie and my crew,
right. But which I could be. Maybe I'm telling you a story about Nelsie and her family. And then I said,
my posse.
So I was talking to them and then they went on this trip. Well, did Nelsie go on the trip, or did Nelsie go with her family or their family? And so I can't fucking follow the story. I literally can't follow the goddamn story. Yeah. And that's all.
So it's a matter of practicality. And
yes, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It literally doesn't make sense. Wow. If anybody's listening out there, it doesn't make sense.
Like trapped in a box or something.
I actually I did tweet it one day. I was just like, I'm voting for let's change this to pers. So I'm saying it here too. What?
I like that.
What do people say?
Heidi, you're so right.
I just want to go back to
Heidi,
that whole
let's do
video
this.
that we watched.
I want to go back to the video. Okay.
Because I just remembered something. So we posted.
You don't like the the platform I'm on right now? Okay.
No. It's no, I'm all for it.
Ronnie's
We're
a they,
just over
them.
that.
Is Ronnie a they them?
I'm a per. I'm Persian.
Yeah, Ronnie, you the best purr I know.
I like it because it makes me feel like a cat. Anyway.
So we're both not going to touch that, Nelsie. We're going to leave that. All right, back to the video.
No, so back to the video. So we played this on another podcast that I'm on with the Asian comics, right? And so we recently posted it online, and so we've gotten some hate from some Tony Hinchcliffe fans, and it's just really interesting to see what's so like
A, that they're watching your podcast, and B,
yeah. So basically, they're probably just searching up, Tony Hinchcliffe and trying to defend him on random videos, right? And the comments that are being posted are really strange because they'll say stuff like, you obviously don't know Tony Hinchcliffe, and you obviously weren't there, and the Chinese guy probably laughed at it,
likes it.
Yeah, and then you'll see the username, and the username is Bob Johnson. I'm like, all right, Bob, I don't think you're the guy to be defending anybody
BJ.
Right now. Yeah. Bob Johnson in the middle of Wisconsin.
You know what BJ stands for?
Yeah.
BJ from
so
Wisconsin.
Crazy. It's like the whole reason that Tony Hinchcliffe felt like that he could do that joke is the same reason why people can feel like they can write those comments. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like the rules, like you just don't get it. It's okay. He was just joking. It's funny. It's not funny, and it's not okay. It's not funny. And it's not okay.
It doesn't. This is not your time to speak. You know what I mean? Like the people defending it. If you aren't, I feel like if you're not the person or the part of the group that is being like picked on or
it's
whatever,
being attacked, basically attacked.
Yeah, but
verbally.
if you can't defend him if you're also another white guy. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't. You don't understand.
Yeah. No.
You're not. The other 80% of the world of Asia. You know what I mean? So it's just so crazy how people react to this.
Yeah.
Is it like the comments are saying like you guys are so sensitive? Bob Johnson said this. This is Bob Johnson.
You know what? I never liked Bob.
Yeah.
I never liked him.
Okay, so if we're talking about accepting that Bob has a very narrow view.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me read the comment because it's so
right.
ridiculous.
We're getting
it's
in
so
it.
ridiculous.
Go ahead.
So
Take
the
it.
comments is on a video where we talk about the Tony Hinchcliffe situation, and we're talking about specifically Tony Hinchcliffe, who is a white person, right? So we get a comment from Bob Johnson, right?
From Wisconsin.
Yeah, he says, "How do you know he's racist? Have you seen any of his other stand-up or Kill Tony, the show Kill Tony he has? You guys are so sensitive. I mean, do you walk away from that set truly thinking he actually hates Asians? This whole video, he's talking about us talking about Tony Hinchcliffe. Mm-hmm. This whole video is just bashing white people. This intersectional approach to racism is ridiculous. He had an unfunny bit that wasn't funny, and that's it."
Did you write back, "Okay, white guy," or said the white guy?
Yeah. All right, Bob.
No, actually, just put quotes around and said the white guy.
Said the white guy. Yeah, it's just to me that's just so crazy that someone who is obviously white would say. To me, it just blows my mind.
This has been the whole conversation.
Go ahead, Heidi.
No, Nelsie, you sounded really excited. Go ahead.
No, because it's all about. You guys are having a discussion specifically about this guy, Tony Hinchcliffe, who went on a racist rant. You guys didn't have a video about how fucked up all white people are.
That's the crazy thing.
Tony Hinchcliffe did a rant about how fucked up Chinese people are. Bashing Asians. That's what you guys were talking about. Not like, those fucking white people, man. Can't trust them.
Yeah. That's
So
the
what's he
crazy thing.
talking about? You guys bashing white people? It's not even.
We're
There's no.
talking
There's,
about Tony Hinchcliffe, who happens to be a white person. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
We're talking about Bob Johnson writing one
yeah, now we're talking about
unconscious,
that.
unnecessary comment under a video that you all posted, and he doesn't deserve this much radio time,
Yeah. Airtime.
this much airtime.
I honestly, no,
Radio
what it
time.
is just
Podcast time.
it just blows my mind that people are this tone deaf. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I just can't believe it. Like, I know for a fact that this guy went out of his way to watch the video is 20 minutes of us talking. It's a clip of a podcast. It's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And he watched the whole thing and then assesses it as a white person and then comments on the video. And then you don't realize Tony Hinchcliffe offended a whole race. We are the race. And we're discussing how we're offended. And then the guy comments and is like, well, as a white person, I feel like you guys are wrong.
Hasn't
it's
this
just
been
so
the whole
crazy.
thing that this has been an ongoing conversation? I mean, for 100 years, but also most recently with BLM, where even what was it? Since I'm not really on social media, besides now suddenly I am, but prior to that, where there was the moment of silence or
Yeah.
a day of silence.
The black,
Right.
yeah, the black box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard about it from my clients, but same thing, right? It's the same idea. Don't speak
Yeah,
to
where-
that
yeah.
to which you cannot
It was-
possibly understand.
Yeah,
And-
because so it's like Black Lives Matter, and then all the white people are like, "Wait, all lives matter though." It was like, "Yeah, but
Right.
this is not
Blue
this
lives
is-
matter, blah, blah, blah. It's all the
Yeah.
people like if they, right. It's silly. It's incredibly narrow minded and
Yeah.
unconscious.
It's just so
And
crazy.
and it's hard to be on the other side of it. It is so insane. It's insane, but so is hate.
yeah,
Right?
yes,
I mean, hate is,
yes, very insane.
Yeah.
thank you. That's all we have time for.
That's what we all have time for.
Wrap it up.
We're gonna leave you with that thought. We're gonna
So
leave you with that thought that
hate.
it's insane, and so is hate.
Yeah,
That the T-shirt will be available very soon.
Along with the like something in peas, whatever you're.
Oh, penis, pussy, potato. That shirt is already in the works.
that shit,
The 3 P's.
the 3 P's of life of success.
That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about that other thing that you talked, that other like little ism that you had about.
Oh, are you going to keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris?
Oh my God, I love you. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What all you're identifying right now is how many isms you have that make no sense whatsoever.
Perfectione.
Oh my God, not that one either.
Is that like a pasta?
Do you remember there was exactly? Do you remember there was a time Nelsie said something? I can't remember what the quote was, but it ended with blah 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 and peas, and I was like, "That's not an expression."
Kettle of peas.
Kettle of peas, and you said that's on. You're like, it's on our merch.
Yeah, yeah. In
Anyway.
that same episode, I said perfectione, and Heidi whispered,
You have another
"That's
thing.
not a word."
Oh my God. Nelsie has
thing-
since realized that she uses
I use it
perfectione
all the time.
all the time. It's embarrassing.
All the
So
time.
embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I didn't even know it.
This podcast is expressly brought to you with a mirror.
Oh God. What were you going to say, Ronnie? That I have some
What
other
was that?
weird
What
word
was
that
the
I
other
use?
thing you said? The handbasket. What is that?
To hell in a handbasket?
Yeah. What is that? Well, I
That's a
think
thing.
about that like once a week. Like, what does that mean? I've never clarified it.
It just means
Going
you're
to hell in a
you're
handbasket.
going-
What does it
you're-
mean?
You're going.
I think he
down
knows
the
what it
wrong
means.
Road. You're going down the wrong
Yeah,
road.
but
You're
what
going-
does the expression mean? You're going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah. You're
Is the
going to hell.
handbasket mean because you are carrying the basket and you're traveling down a road
Is it
that you
because
shouldn't?
in the Bible?
What is it?
Yeah.
whoa,
Bring that in.
Whoa, whoa.
Oh, let's bring the bee in.
Wasn't there a story? I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Bible, but I grew up in the Episcopalian school, so I know some knowledge. So there's a story I forget, but I don't know the best. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think this is First Testament, so
So go to
Bear
bring
with
it.
me.
I've read
All
a little
right.
bit of the Bible. Yeah.
So like there's a
Close your mouth,
story
Nelsie.
where there's a baby and they put him in a thing in a tiny boat and they put him down the river.
It's called Moses.
Is that Moses?
Baby.
Is that Moses?
Look,
Yes.
wait, who am I? Yeah, I know a little bit about the Bible because I went to Episcopalian school. So there was a baby and they put him in
It's only like the most famous
They
story.
put him in a thing.
Is it
they put
famous?
the baby in a thing. Yes, Ron.
Oh.
They put
Moses in the basket.
Yes.
Picked up by an Egyptian princess
Yes.
or whatever.
You
queen,
know this.
And then
Yeah.
raised to
Other
be
people
not
know this.
Jewish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everybody knows the story.
I don't know. I heard it. I was like, oh, it's
It's not
probably
an
like
Episcopalian thing. It's not an Episcopalian
oh,
thing.
okay.
It's just
well, good. So you know what I'm talking about.
everybody's
So
story.
is that where it comes from?
No, I have the origin.
That's
of
hilarious. I like it the way he's thinking.
I do,
Hell in
too.
a handbasket. Moses, a Jew in a basket, down the what's it called? The Nuab? What's the
Your
I think
job
of the name of
is
that river. The
river? Oh, I don't know.
Dunabi River.
You got me, honey. You got me. But I know the origin of To Hell in a Handbasket according to Wikipedia.
Did you just look it up?
Yeah, going
It's
to Hell
on
in
as
a
a
Handbasket.
Wikipedia.
While Ronnie was talking.
Yeah,
That's not nice.
Going to, but I piped in. Going to
hear
hell
it.
in a
What is it?
handbasket or going to hell in a handbag or in a bucket. It is supposedly happened when the people were going to the gold rush and they would be lowered down into a well, like into the mine to find the gold.
Mine.
That's to mine the gold. That's one.
you're going to hell.
Another one is that it's an American
That's a good one.
allegorical locution of unclear origin, describing that you're headed for disaster inescapably.
We know that. We know what it
that's-
means, but we want to know where it came from.
I don't know if
He
Ronnie
said
knew what
he
it meant.
understood. You understood that, Ronnie, right?
I
Well, you had
understood
also
it as a
explained it already,
baby.
Nelsie.
Gold rushers, where
river.
baby were lowered by where they were lowered by hand baskets
Where
down
babies-
mining shafts.
Babies were lowered and
Babies were
Nelsie,
were
stop.
mining.
Stop. Nelsie, stop.
babies
Stop
were
it.
mining coal.
Oh, wait. Although it probably came much earlier when in Exodus of Moses being placed in a handmade basket.
Oh,
Ronnie.
that's amazing. That's
It didn't
amazing.
say that.
It does.
Are you really?
screen.
You swear?
I'm looking right at it.
You swear?
However, the usage probably dates much earlier, with either the basket used to catch guillotined heads or maybe as far back as the Bible's account of Exodus of Moses being placed in a handmade basket.
Why would that be hell, though?
Don't know, honey.
Well, because they thought they wasn't it because there was like a battle or some shit, or like people were like getting
Later,
killed?
but he was first raised in that
No.
house.
No.
The baby was
he
found.
was only a
he was-
baby. No.
yeah, but he
Before that,
grew
When-
up there.
No. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Before
why
that,
he was
when
put in the basket?
He was, yeah, exactly right. Like
Oh.
his
But
parents.
still,
had to-
hell in a handbasket.
Well, they thought.
suggests
Well,
that-
maybe they.
I
thought,
like the going down in the mine. Yeah,
the baby.
That makes more sense. I like babies
yeah.
in the mine.
Makes sense.
You need their little fingers to get that gold.
Honestly, if you put a baby in a handbasket down the river, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean?
doesn't bode well for the baby. Of course,
He gets rescued and he grows up to be one of the most famous people in Jewish history.
Yeah, it's just so lucky though.
That's what happens when you put a baby in a handbasket. Please do not do
Don't-
this to
please
all
do
our
not.
listeners out there.
This is not to suggest that you should be putting your baby in a
This is
handbasket
definitely not saying that.
and putting them in any type of water. Just no rivers,
No.
not even a bathtub. Okay.
No baskets.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have, guys.
If you say what I think you want to say, Nelsie, I will come through this computer at you.
I'm not saying it.
I will
don't-
come
I
through
don't
that
even know.
green
I don't even
camera.
know.
Saw that. She
I don't
saw it
even know
coming.
what you're talking about. I don't even know
Okay.
what you're talking about. All I
That
know,
was-
all I know is that
All I'm knowing is that it's time to go. Toodalooski.
that the three of us are heading to hell in a handbasket.
Bye.
Follow
would
us
just
on
end it
social
like
media. Follow us on social media. You can follow Heidi on Twitter at Heidi Haddad or at Head and Heart Therapy, and she does an AMA every Thursday night, live on Twitter. You can follow us on Losing It Podcast on Instagram. You can contact us at losingitcontact@gmail.com. You can comment below. I'm not even going to say it. I know you're thinking it. If you're watching us on YouTube and did I do it, Ronnie? Every week I think I feel confident, and then I get to the end. I'm like, did I do it right, Ronnie?
You know what? Some people could. You know what you could do, Nelsie? This is going to blow your mind. You could write it down.
Ronnie says it when I'm done. Ronnie says it. Ronnie says it at the end. But I do this anyway because he told me to, and I do whatever Ronnie tells me.
That's fine. You still can write it on a piece of paper and put it next to your computer. Just saying, it just would solve your insecurity issue.
She's such a
insecurity issue.
She said that with such disdain too.
Yeah, right. I don't know why that
insecure.
happened.
Like, oh, you sicken me.
You disgust me with your insecurity.
But if you want any therapy help, you can
Call
find
me.
therapy.
You know where to go.
We're saying goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Toodalooty. Little. Loodleets. Bye.
Shut up.
It's not nice, Nelsie.
Losing it. You came and you listened to the story. I hope so much that it didn't make you sorry, and I hope so much that you'll come back again.
Losing It, hosted by Nelsie Spencer. Produced by me, Ronnie Whaley. Theme song by Hunter Williams. Follow us online on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all podcasting platforms at Losing It Podcast. Viewers can email Nelsie with questions or comments about life, writing, comedy, or even your own Losing It story for a chance to be on the Losing It Podcast at losingitcontact@gmail.com. For everything Nelsie and everything Losing It, visit us at nelsiespencer.com.